Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. It is the 6th of June 2018 and I've ummed and ahed about talking about this again, but I've noticed recently there's been a lot on YouTube regarding Flat Earth to the channels that I watch anyway, and some that I don't. There seems to be a lot of, I don't know if it's anger or vitriol or what is the best word to describe it, sort of infighting or intolerance. I don't know, maybe these words are all too strong. And I don't know, it's a shame because, I like listening to the videos where there's actual proper content rather than maybe some more of, I know this is a loaded term, drama. The other thing, the reason why I'm not about saying it is I don't know whether it's worth me voicing my opinion, whether by me voicing my opinion I'm including myself in it or being divisive, or somehow I believe that my opinion needs to be aired. But then I think to myself, wait a minute, why am I doing this in the first place? These podcasts, which maybe one or two individuals are listening to, if even that, it's difficult to tell numbers on YouTube or Anchor FM, but it's not a large amount of people, so it's not like my opinion is going to sway anyone. But I do then wonder then why do I feel, because I'm thinking, I've been wanting to make this podcast and I'm thinking to myself, well, why do I want to talk about this? What is it that, is it something to do with the way that I'm built? Like there's some people that want to make these podcasts, some people that don't. Is it just to do with that? Like, why do any of us make these YouTube videos? Sometimes, yeah, it is to get the message across, but I don't think it's always wholly that reason, because maybe part of us, we like producing things. I guess that's part of humanity, isn't it? We, as a species, we like, or a lot of us like producing things, and we feel accomplishment at doing that. So I don't know why, I'm trying to find what's the motive for me wanting to do these things or to record these things. Part of it also becomes habit, isn't it? It fills your day, it's an enjoying thing to do, to talk about these things. Also, it's a way for the mind to think about things by speaking. It sort of lays down these foundations. Anyway, so the thing is, I was listening to the non sequitur show. I've heard a few of them. I heard Poncho Pete was playing one, which had, I think it was allegedly Dave D. Murphy, is that right? And then I also heard recently Beyond the Imaginary Curve on there. And the thing that, obviously I felt that I had to say something, because I've said things about, this morning and other times when I've heard people talking on other shows about Flat Earth. And it's the same type of thing, really, in the sense that, and I know Dow has said this previously, that debate, that, Flat Earth isn't a debate. I know Jane Brown says the same thing as well. It's unfortunate that it can't be debated, in the sense that, maybe it's the word that's the problem, or the context of the word. You'd think in a civilized society we could sit down and discuss things without things becoming heated or verbal or attackive or whatever, but unfortunately that's not the case. It wasn't the case on the non sequitur show. It wasn't the case, when you look at politicians, when you look at, on BBC's Question Time, when you look on, these, I know BBC has a religious programme in the morning on Sundays, it used to do, where they would have different people, some religious, some non-religious, debating with each other. Any debate show, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on national television, international television, whatever it is, when you have two sides, it's very difficult, especially depending on the moderation and depending on, the people themselves, that they're going to actually be able to have a conversation where they can be enlightened and be able to sort of have open mind and think, well, I'm going to listen to what the person says and I'm going to take it on board, and I'm going to think, okay, maybe there is something to that, rather than being closed-minded and, then immediately when someone challenges you, you become attackive or defensive or verbal. I think it's unfortunate, but I guess all I can say is maybe that's part of human nature, or maybe that's taught to us to be like that, or we're not taught not to be like that. Maybe that's the thing, as we are all schooled. It's a shame, because it makes you think that it's impossible for society to get along with each other, because we all have varying views and we all have different passions and we all have different ways of showing them and dealing with them. And that's why when I was watching the non-sequitur show, I found it very difficult to watch I'm talking about the Beyond the Imaginary Curve one. Obviously I watched the Beyond the Imaginary Curve, and there's a lot of good stuff on there that Dale and Gav talk about, but I just thought on the non-sequitur show it didn't come across. I know there was lots of tricks that the other side played, and I know it was the problem is and I guess this is why Dale says that debate is a pointless thing, is that the problem is with a lot of these debates is when people who don't believe in things ask people who do believe in things to come and challenge to talk about these things, and it's always one-sided, in the sense that whoever the presenter is, whoever the host is, whatever their belief is, they have the power in that sense. And if you try and challenge that, it makes you look aggressive. And it's a very difficult thing to control yourself, which if you listen to the show you can see that I don't think that was there was control there. It didn't. I don't think it helped. Well, it wouldn't if it didn't help me. I don't think it would help any new people. Obviously, people who have been listening to these things for a long time will realise that this is what to expect. Like on that show, non-sequitur show, there seemed to be 4 people who were non-flat Earth and 2 people that were flat Earth, obviously, and 2, so it was versus. So it was two non-flat Earthers versus 2 flat Earthers, and the moderators of the show, the people who run the show, seem to be non-flat Earthers as well. So I mean, they're going to say, oh, we're going to try not to be biased, but that's bullshit. That's impossible. That's like when the BBC tried to do that as well. There's no such thing as non-bias. It's impossible to be, as a human being, non-biased. You are biased. You can try, yeah, but it will still creep in somewhere. So yeah, it was a very unfair show in that sense, and I wouldn't have agreed to do that, and I'm surprised that they did. But then, the thing is, you always hope for the best on these things, and you never know how it's going to turn out. So yeah, I guess what I've learnt from these things is best not to do debate shows. Unless it's you can be a person who is going to be open-minded and actually let people have their opinions, either side. I'm saying this to both sides. I don't see the point of, and obviously I'm bringing into my own how I see things. So this really only affects me. But from my point of view, that I prefer it when people don't attack each other and they don't belittle each other and they don't try and show each other up. I feel that's sort of underhanded and it doesn't help things. I hope as a species we're better, that we're more intellectual than that we can actually lay down opposing things and actually people can sort of question it without the need to get aggressive or attackive. And I'm saying this for either side, of flat earther, non-flat earther, whatever. But I know that's not the case, because I can watch the television, I can open my window into the world and see reality. So to expect that, I guess, is foolish of me. But yeah, it was interesting. There was a lot of facts that came out of it, and by and large I felt that, I can't say it was a great job Beyond the Imaginary Curve did, if I'm being honest and truthful, even though I do like the show, but I can't say that I believe in truth and then sort of say, just because I like someone I have to like it, because that would be like a cult. I have to express my own opinion, and that is that I don't think it actually came off great. Yes, there was a lot of points, and they did stumble in the non-flat earthers, when they asked questions about things, they weren't giving proper examples, which on a previous Beyond the Imaginary Curve they had the same thing with an Italian guy. When they ask for an example, they give a different set of example, and that just goes to show that, well, then there isn't actually a way to prove what you're saying. But it was very draining and difficult to listen to, I would say that. So yeah, I would advise that, well, not needing my advice, but I would never go on to one of these debate shows. I couldn't do it anyway, because I don't have enough knowledge, and I guess probably also I'm a bit too subservient, and maybe that's me, why I'm looking at it this way, and I don't like the the swearing or the attackive thing, because the way I've been brought up and the way I believe to be is that, you know, not to be subservient but to be polite. But yeah, maybe that's not the right way to be as well. I guess I understand what Dale was saying when he was going through on his show, like going through it, that if they were triggered and they were being underhanded, yeah, I could see those things, they were. But I guess that's to be expected. You know, that's always the way it's going to be. We saw that this morning. We see on all these programs is no one's unbiased. I guess that's what I'm saying. Anyway, it was interesting, and that's just my point. I'm not trying to attack anyone or saying anyone did anything wrong. Obviously, everyone's allowed to do however they want to be. This is just my opinion and how I felt, and for some reason I wanted to say it, and I mean no offence. And take care, take it easy. God bless and peace.